I'm Alexa Burton, but you can call me Lexi. And I want to welcome you to the latest episode of Two Chairs and a Camera. With me today, I've got Cary, and she publishes under a couple of different last names. So I'll let her tell you about her books.
Okay.
What did you bring today?
Well, I brought, the first one that I wrote was Regency romance called The Earl's Angel.
Okay.
And that's under my married name, Cary Harter. So, it's a
Regency romance. Now, my first question for you when you said that to me was, what is a Regency romance?
It's set in England in the early 1800s when King George was sort of crazy.
Okay.
And so the regent...
that leads for an interesting backdrop.
The Prince Regent was sort of more in charge, so...
Okay.
It's during that time with all the balls.
Okay. So this is like royalty then?
Yeah, she's in the titled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Royalty adjacent.
Yes, not really right. They're titled. Yeah,
okay.
So, but yeah, it's really the first book I wrote.
Okay.
Ever.
Oh, exciting.
When
did this come out?
It sat and I wrote other books.
Okay.
And then it got worked on again.
Okay.
And then it sat while I worked on other, and but that's the one I finally ended up publishing.
Was this the dream project, or was it just the one that ended up getting to a place where you were happy with it first?
That's
okay.
Yes. Yeah. I liked my other one better, and then I let it sit for about 6 months, and I submitted that to try to get an agent.
Okay.
And the agent said, well, I when I read the first 10 pages, I thought it was going to be this light fluffy thing. She said, but the character doesn't have depth, I just not, and I'm like, and then I let it sit, and I thought, well, maybe she's right.
I mean,
so I went back and read it.
We have to be open to criticism, but at the same time, it's like, these are your
right.
parts of your soul. It's like a knife to the heart.
Yeah, but I have learned to, my initial reaction is, no, it isn't. No, it's fine. But then I'll just not say anything. And sometimes I'll write mad letters back.
Okay.
And
not send them?
Not send them. Okay. Yes.
That's a good coping mechanism.
Yes. And then I sit back and I read it again and go, oh, that's sort of right.
I did that as I was editing my latest one, which there's a sneak peek of on the channel. One of my beta readers said that I use the main characters' names too much. Oh. And I didn't catch it until they said something about it.
And then it starts irritating you when you're reading it, like, oh.
And it's like 3 and 4 times in a paragraph. I will mention them by name, and I'm like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't do this in the first book.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm kind of afraid to open the first book and look.
Yeah. But and so I ended up, and I had, I belong to a writer's group. And they were like, that first book, I just like that one better. And so I went, this one. Okay. So I went back to that, and I changed some things and made it a little tighter and a little bit, And then
editing process.
Yeah. Although I'm an adder rather than a subtractor. It started out at 45,000 words, and it's now 83.
I'm not much of a cutter either. People say that that's how you edit, is you cut stuff. And I'll cut a sentence here, a sentence there, maybe a paragraph. I don't cut chunks.
Right.
I don't. And then
I do sometimes. I'll say that scene I could do better.
Yeah, about as much as I'm taking out, I add.
Yeah.
Doing my last edit of my last book. I just finished it last week.
Oh.
Doing the full continuity edit to make sure that all the details line up. I had a net loss of 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I end up, it's almost like a real fat outline if you think about it. And then I add in some details and a little bit more to make it.
So are you an outliner?
No, I am a pantser.
Me too.
Totally. Yeah. Cannot outline. I've tried it. And I
not at all.
I
not at all. Yeah.
It was not interesting anymore.
I create the characters. I might have a few scenes that I know I want to hit, but then I just throw them in the deep end and say, get to that island.
Right. Yeah, you're going to end up here. We don't know how.
Get there.
Right. Yeah. That's what and then sometimes they'll surprise you too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that.
I had my book has some military characters in it. I had one character in the middle of the last book just come in out of nowhere and go hit me in the back of the head with a training sword and say, "This is what's going to happen."
Hey, lady, you're writing this.
Okay, I'll do that next, sir.
Yes. Right away, sir.
And then another one, I kept getting side quests. I'm like, you don't need to go shopping for more things.
Well, do you ever, like, laugh, too? They'll say something, and you'll just laugh. You'll be like, oh, my gosh. I can't believe they said that, you know?
The first book had a character that was really prone to things like that, that I'm like, oh, my goodness, what did you just do?
Well, that brings me on to my second book, which is more like that.
Okay, and you said this one just came out recently?
This one came out in June, the end of June.
So this summer.
So yeah, and I got the next one. I'm right at the end of
it. Okay, so this is part of a series.
Yes.
And this one's meant for what age?
8 to 12.
Okay.
Probably, a little bit older. I mean, I've had adults that read it and really liked it. So it's
that just means it's well written.
Sort of one of those. Well, we hope so. But that one's about a girl that her mother babysits this girl.
Okay.
And she's sort of tough, and she feels like she's bullied, so she's gonna get even. And so it's a lot of prank war kind of things.
Okay.
And a discovery at the end.
Some antics.
Yes. Some of them gross that boys would probably be more prone to liking. But and it's written in first person, so it's like all her, she gets me so bad, kind of thing. So
kind of like really to connect to the reader.
Yeah.
I tend to find that first person connects better, easier. And maybe that's just me.
Yeah. But, I actually had never written in first person. Found out I love it.
I wrote a story in high school in first person and kind of locked into that. And then I'm glad that I didn't write the first book in first person, because the second one I couldn't have done without it being very confusing.
Yeah, it depends on... See, this is like, there are some gaps in there. It's like her struggle internally, of, like, she can't think this stuff up. She's not that kind of person, and for Harley, it's like nothing.
What's this girl's name?
This girl's named Millie.
Millie and Harley.
Yes. Okay. And, so it's fun. Actually, my son, when he was in 5th grade, came home, and he was writing a story for class. And he came home with the name Harley Wigglestein. And I was like, I love that name. And so...
Isn't it great, the places we get names?
Oh, yeah. So I went to bed, and as I'm laying in bed, I'm making this whole past up for her and who she is and all this stuff. And I said, can I use that? And he still, to this day, is like, that's not the same Harley Wigglestein I have.
But that just made it yours.
Yes.
My mom used to teach, and every year she'd come home with a list of names for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get a good ones. I used to look at the end of movies, too.
Okay, that's a good
idea.
idea.
All the gaffers and whoever. They have some really interesting names, yeah.
That's a thought. I heard of somebody, I don't even know where I heard of it. It was somewhere on the internet, and I made the suggestion to somebody else who was on the podcast to go into Starbucks and start listening for the names to be called.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. As long as you're not in a boring city. Not a boring
Well,
town,
I mean, his book had very normal...
Okay.
I'm going to say human because I write science fiction names. So it would work for him.
Yeah.
It would not work for me.
Yeah. My names are real normal. Actually, with the Regency stuff, a lot of times
because it's historical.
I looked up popular names of that time.
Okay.
So, and picked what I liked,
So, how long have you been writing?
Over 10 years.
Okay.
It's probably been... Well, I wrote for like 5 years, and then life got in the way, and then I just started back in the last 2 years.
So it was more something you came to as an adult than like you were that kid that always had the pen.
I always had the notebook when I was a kid, but I mean like writing full books.
Okay.
It was more journal stuff when I was younger. But yes, I got very mad at my language arts teacher taking my notebook one time in class. I just sat there the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, so. But that was.
It's not frivolous distraction. It's the way your brain works.
Exactly. It is. I mean, I heard I could have told her everything she said.
Mm-hmm. I was the same way.
But at the same time, and then I was also in grade school, the kid that with the book underneath the desk, reading.
I don't think I did that one. I could be wrong. I don't remember doing that one.
I did a lot. And underneath the door crack with the light from the hallway reading. Yeah.
I was audiobooks.
Oh, you know what? I never listened to those until my kids were young.
Yeah, I was audiobooks at night, so I never, I mean, my parents couldn't tell if I was awake or not. I'm not sure if they'd actually have cared, but because the sound is going to keep going even if I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had a system. I had the cassette player, and yeah, I'm going to date myself here, with, and there was like a reset counter button.
Uh-huh.
And every few minutes, I would just reach up and hit the button, so if I fell asleep, I could rewind back to 0. Yeah.
You only get so much of it, yeah.
Yeah, I only have to repeat 5-10 minutes, not the whole side of the tape.
That's funny. That's funny.
What got you inspired to start writing, like, books?
Well, this doesn't sound very nice, but I was not very happy with the books that I was reading. They all were like...
Cookie cutter?
Yeah, and I mean, not that mine is anything... But the thing that made me mad was the stuff when you're doing historical. Now, I know I probably have missed something that was done historically. You can't. You can't. You can look it up and you'll find 2 different answers. So you just have to sort of
pick
go
one.
with So it wasn't that. It was just that, like,
if you want to support your favorite historical author, don't fact check them.
Yes. But I hated things that were so outlandish for that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, no, that's something, you know, or like everybody's getting
just
kidnapped.
Blatantly wrong.
Everybody's getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
Everybody's a spy. I'm like, I just want a book that's like of something that might actually happen to somebody.
Okay. More of a societal thing?
Yeah, it basically is about a girl that, I mean, like I said, there's some liberties taken when you're writing, but she was sort of promised to this guy years and years ago. Well, he fell in love with this other girl who spurned him, and he hated women after that. And so it was their marriage and how they worked through all that. And the girl actually comes back into the picture.
Oh.
And, yeah. So it's sort of a...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she starts out, she's like 17 when she gets married. You know, she's younger.
Yeah.
He's 27 or 28.
Which is even a little old for the time, isn't it?
Oh, not for men.
Okay.
Men waited. They sowed their oats.
Mm.
But they, you know, so she was a lot, but she was actually, she ended up like more mature than him. So, but she was scared. She was an only child. Her parents babied her, and she went into this, and so she had to grow up.
Okay.
And
now that's a very, very different kind of thing than Harley Wigglestein.
Yes.
So what inspired? Well, I mean, your son, but was it the name your son came home with? But was that the inspiration for the book?
Yes.
Or, okay.
That was the whole inspiration for the book. I made this whole elaborate story about Harley Wigglestein in my head, and then when I wrote it, everybody was surprised because I write from Millie's point of view, not Harley's.
Yeah, but would you consider Harley to be the main character, or just like...
Millie's sort of the main character, but all the stories, like all my stories that I have ideas for, they're all named like Getting the Best of Harley Wigglestein. The next one's Harley Wigglestein and the Old Lady Next Door. So
are you going to switch point of views, or are they all going to be from Millie?
They're all from Millie's point of view. But that's like her,
okay.
You know, yeah.
That is an interesting take.
So, yeah.
What's been... I'm not having trouble phrasing the question because there's 2 books. I would say,
yes.
like, what was your favorite thing to write in the book? But we've got 2 books here.
Right.
So what was your favorite thing to write?
I actually really like humor.
Okay.
but I tend to quirky humor.
Okay.
But sometimes I tend to be more dramatic than I think
in the humor aspect or in the things around it?
Well, it's like Millie, like it's like she's frustrated and she's like, I don't know, she flexes between, and like she has a little bit of ADD because she'll be talking about something and then like, ooh, I like that word,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, but I like humor.
Okay.
I really like humor, just little things. And actually, actually am writing down a movie as it plays in my head.
Okay. So you see it like visually playing out.
Yes.
I think maybe I do for parts, but definitely not for the whole book.
Well, when I don't, I'm just working hard. And if it's the movie, it comes right out. I hear them talking. I'm just writing it down as fast as I can. And it works out real nice.
That's a great way to do things if it works for you. It sounds like easy and freeing mentally.
It is, and you can describe things so well
because you
see them. Yeah. But there were times when like I remember one thing in particular, and I'm going, what how would you describe this kind of, so I had to,
I've had some of those.
I'll do it and then think, okay, now what?
Oh yeah. Because I've definitely had physical sequences I've had to walk through to check the physics and
yeah.
What was the hardest thing or thing you get most stuck on?
I get stuck right before the end.
So you know what the end is, but it's that step right there.
Right before. Yeah.
And that's like a consistent throughout the books you've written?
It just seems like it. I'll write up to here, and then I'm like, okay, no, I gotta get from here to here.
Is it you don't know what happens, or you can see the end in sight and you just don't want to deal with it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
My last 2 chapters took me forever to write. I knew exactly what was going to happen, though. I knew exactly what needed to happen. I just couldn't make myself sit down and write them.
Well, and that's sort of what I'm having with the second book of this.
Okay.
I'm like sitting here. I've been sitting here for at least a month. And I'll write little things. And my son finally told me, he said, just write garbage.
Just get it on paper and you can edit it out later.
No, not even that. Write 10 different endings.
Oh, yeah, that works too.
And I did do that. I got through about 3 of them and went, oh, I could stick part of this with part of that. And then
you still have all that other work that can go other places.
Right. Yes. Never throw that away.
Oh, yeah.
I have that little file over there. Removed scenes. Because you can always use it in another
They can go somewhere else.
Well, actually, when I wrote this one, I had sort of 2 love stories sort of swirling together. And somebody said, it really sort of takes away from the main one if you have this one. So it's still sort of there in a hint way. But
most of it.
I was taking parts of her view. Like, they weren't even there. Okay. And so I took those out, and then they're supposed to be the second book.
I was going to ask, does that mean there's another book?
Yeah.
And they're happening, like, side by side?
Actually, yeah, the weird thing is that I have an idea in my head of 4 books, 4 different girls, all at the same time.
Okay.
So they meet each other, and some of the scenes will be the same scene from a different view.
But you read the first one, you read the second one, you get there, and it's like, oh, that was when that happened, and they went out and did that.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay.
But I got part of the way through that, and then I was like, no, I just really got into the Harley, and just wanted to go with that for a while.
Okay.
So we'll see.
And there's something to be said for the length of a book like this. It's just easier to churn out.
Yeah, and that's a thing. I wanted to get out like at least 4 or 5, and then, and 2, it depends on
the day.
How you feel. I mean, if I'm not feeling, I was feeling rather angsty when I did this. Actually, my daughter doesn't know this, but I started writing. I think that it was sort of on her relationship, which is no longer in existence.
Do I need to edit that out?
Maybe, but I think that's what it was. I think that was in my mind that, kind of. But he turns out to be a lot better.
Okay. they morph and they grow and they.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you suffer from writer ADD, but I've got like 12 projects going on.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Just
I
a
have
few.
the second one of this one. I have
Mhm.
a fantasy one that
Okay.
got halfway through, and then I wrote myself in this thing, and I'm like, okay, now I've got to come up with a really big, like, information kind of thing here, and I don't know what to do. So then that one got set by, and I had a suspense kind of like one. There was this murder, and
It's like a mystery?
all the way through you don't know, and at the end you find it all out, you know, and there's not cops or no detective or anything. It's just this guy living his life, and these things are happening, and you're going, what is going on? But yeah, that's halfway done. So I think every writer has that.
Yeah.
And you pick them up. I mean, like, this one sat for a long time, and you can still pick them back up.
Exactly.
You know?
It's there waiting for whenever you're ready.
Right.
So this is going to be 4. Do you know how many this is going to be, or you said you've got 5 in your head?
Well, it depends. I guess I'm going to try the first 4 or 5. See how they're liked.
So this could potentially be something like the Boxcar Kids that hits like 100 and something. On
Not
books.
quite that far, but in my head I had about 20.
Okay, that's a good size series for kids.
Yeah. So I thought.
I mean, to some extent, you get to the point where it's like they're never gonna read the whole. I'm thinking Magic Treehouse here because it's got a fairly narrow age range.
Well, the thing that's different, I think, about the way I'm doing this, and I'm not sure if it'll work, is they're actually growing. So you're getting different. Like, they're going through junior high, and you know how junior high is. So, like, I was going to do it until.
How did any of us survive junior high?
I know. Yeah. Hey, you have to get a shirt. I survived junior high.
That would be. Yes.
So, but so there's different problems. There's different issues, and that's the thing is I still want to keep the light-hearted, kind of humorous, but yet deal with some difficult issues.
Yeah, and as they get older, those issues can be more age appropriate.
Like,
yeah.
One of the things I was thinking was like the death, dealing with death, dealing with abusive situations.
When you're 10, the end of the world is you lost your lunch money. When you're 16, it's a totally different.
Well, even in junior high, that stuff comes up, you know, and so, but you gotta handle it in a way that you still get a little bit of light. I don't want to make it heavy. So we'll see.
Was there an author or even a not author that, well, I suppose that you already answered this with your son, but I was going to say that inspired your writing. But I'm thinking more inspired your overall wanting to write or your style rather than one particular book.
I mean, I loved different series as I grew up. I was really into, when I started doing this, I was really into Marion Chesney, which most people probably have never heard of.
I have not.
Have you ever heard of M.C. Beaton?
Uh-uh.
Okay, she writes like cozy mysteries.
Okay, yeah, I mostly read sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay. Well, she, in the 80s, wrote a bunch of emergency romances under the name Marion Chesney, her real name, Marion Chesney. And I found them, and I loved the way she'd write 6 books. They would all have certain background characters. Like the one was a group of older aristocrats that were poor. They were called the Poor Relation.
Okay.
They made a hotel, and then it was the people that stayed in the hotel.
Okay.
Every book was a different love story, and then they did one for a house for rent where they had the same servants that the different people came in different books. So, and one was a school for manners, and it was these ladies that were trying to get money, and they said, well, we're going to advertise for girls that they can't find marriage partners for because they're unruly or whatever. And so then each book was, but there was also an underlying story with these background people.
Okay, that you had to follow that too.
It was so neat. And I sort
so
of,
that's kind of how you're...
Not at all.
Okay.
When I started writing, it didn't turn out like that.
Was that what you wanted?
I did. Yeah.
And it took on its own life because it takes on its own life.
Yeah, because it's the good thing is though, it's me talking, and I think that in the Harley, that's even more me talking. It's like the more you.
Do you consider yourself Millie?
There are a lot of parts of Millie. Yes, but there are some that aren't. You know, she's a different part, but there are parts that I'm like, wow, didn't realize I was such a worrier.
I've come to realize that a lot of us writers are.
Yeah.
The more of these podcasts I do, a lot of us have similar quirks.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are
neat.
high anxiety warriors.
Yeah. I never used to be. I was like really chill.
I didn't identify myself as a worrier because I was a planner. But I plan for everything.
I do now.
Which is being a worrier, isn't it?
Yes.
I just didn't see it that way.
Yeah, you think of it as
I'm being
just
prepared.
looking at
I'm trying
all
to be
the
prepared.
scenarios and trying to have a
but one person
thing to do in every scenario you come across.
One person's being prepared as another person's worrying, and
right.
I don't feel like, I mean, yeah, I feel anxiety, but when I'm planning out all these things, I don't feel the anxiety of the situation like I'm worrying over.
Right.
I feel like I'm
almost
planning.
And you're solving a puzzle.
Yeah, it's like I'll be walking around the kitchen doing something, cooking some project because I have projects. And my head will be going, what if the zombie apocalypse hits?
Right.
What do I do? What people do I put in
I
place?
will warn you,
you
do not want to be around me and a zombie apocalypse because if I don't get my sleep and my food, you don't want to be around me. And so, yeah, that would be a bad thing.
But yeah, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I know who I'm telling to get to my house and how and what they need to pack in their car.
Yeah.
I know exactly how that's gonna go.
Yeah, well, yeah, I trust me, I know. I've done that.
And that's like fun for me. It's not an anxiety
It's solving a problem.
thing.
It's like a little puzzle in your head.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's figure this one. And that's what books are too when you think about it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
These are the people, these are the places, this is the rough goal. Let's get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like I've talked with my kids talk to me about stuff, and my son was saying, like, he never realized, like, when they were little, we were really bored because I stayed home and I homeschooled my kids, and my husband just had a regular factory job.
How many kids?
5. So we didn't have money, and they never realized it, you know. And the things that we think are normal to do, like, oh, we ran out of propane, so we will cook on our wood burner, you know. I mean, because I have a propane stove.
But you've already got these things in your head, so it's not a big deal because you figured them out. You can just jump in and do it.
Right. And some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. You know,
crisis happens, but you already know how to deal with the crisis.
Right. And I've always been one, too, in crisis situations of...
and for me, that lowers the anxiety.
Yeah. That's what my husband was always really good in like he...
Mm-hmm.
But I always sometimes feel... I sometimes feel that I'm not... like when someone's injured.
Okay.
I'm not someone that comes over, oh, and they hold somebody and I'm not like that. I stand back and I look at the situation and figure out what I have to do in this situation to get them where they need, what they need, all that. But my husband could sort of do both. It was sort of neat. But he would get sort of like, they were like, yeah, Dad would get sort of like really like, oh my gosh, you know, and he'd boom in, and I'd be sitting back going, okay, well, do we need to get an ice pack for that? Can you go get, you know, it was...
It's like, these are the questions you need to answer, and...
Yeah, so maybe that's
a
writing
and I think
thing.
we're both like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's a writing thing, or if we're writers because we're like that.
True.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Cart, horse, egg, chicken.
The one thing I can say is, I said to my son, the one thing I'm very proud about is whether I'm not everybody's gonna like my book, but I did it.
You did it, and that's a huge thing.
Yeah, not everybody can
writing
do
a
that.
book is so much work,
and
it's
formatting
a huge
it,
process.
Formatting it.
I hire a
doing
formatter.
Oh, do you? I formatted. You don't. It's such a nightmare. You think, oh, I've only got these few things to fix. It'll be an hour.
I have
5 hours later, you say, oh no, now I noticed 5 other things that need to be changed.
I have someone that I edit with on a one-on-one, and that takes forever. But I hire somebody and just go, here, format this.
Yeah. Well,
and I get it back, and they've got a program that does most of it.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I'm learning. I'm learning a lot about how to fix things and, you know, all that stuff. So it just takes time. You know?
So you've got Harley 2 that you're almost done with.
Right.
You've got bits and pieces of the Regency stuff sitting in the background.
Right.
Is there anything else that's kind of like a project that you really want to focus on that you'd consider that your next thing right now?
Well, I'm going to be working on a lot of Harley stuff, but I do have this fantasy that I...
The one that you were saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really liked... I wish I would have finished it years ago, you know.
Okay.
It's just, it would have... it's called Skeletons in the Closet.
Oh, good name.
Yeah. And it's about this basically this drought is on, and this aqueduct that gave the water to the town is all dried up, and this guy finds a key as he's walking along as a shortcut. He's trying to avoid people, and so he goes down there because he knows they won't go there because of the stories that are told about the area. Anyway, he finds this key, and when he's coming home from work with his cousin goes, "Hey, doesn't that look like the top of the key?" Because it had this kind of picture on it, kind of thing, carved in. And so they go over and they open this door, and basically it's all these skeletons down there.
Like literal?
Literal skeletons, but they come from the skeletons in the closet from the people of town. They have formed down there. So...
Interesting.
Yeah. When everything gets shoved down there, it now has a body and a... So...
Yeah,
and they,
like a physical manifestation of...
Yes.
Interesting.
So, and it's... Yeah.
So the way I like to wrap these up is tell us one fun fact, interesting tidbit about you that doesn't have to do with writing.
Okay. When I was 19, I took off with a guy that I only knew a couple months and played in a band out west for months. We toured around. Yeah.
What did you play?
Well, I sang, and I played a little bit of keyboards. And then I ended up coming back here because he had bills back here and no money out there. So we came back, and we ended up getting married and having 5 kids. So it all worked out okay. Well, we played in a band for all
I was going to say,
so.
Assuming you were safe, what a fun life experience. But considering married and had 5 kids, I'm going to go with yes.
It was a very good experience. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a good pick.
Wow, what a How I Met...
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother.
Well, because How I Met Your Father is a series, too. But
okay.
What a How I Met Your Father story. Could write that one.
Yeah, we met in July. We went out in August. He left in September to go out west to see if he could find a place. Came back in October, and I went with him. My first date with him was in the end of August on my birthday. So.
I have moved forward on similar, I didn't move across the country, but at similar time scale before. Mm-hmm. So what works for one person is not what works for everyone.
Exactly. If there was any kind of I don't know, don't do it. But,
especially across the country.
Yeah, I just had a feeling there was just a real connection.
And sometimes you just know. Sometimes that connection is very instant.
Yeah, we were married for 35 years, so he just passed away a couple years ago. So but yeah, so.
Well, do you have author socials? An author Facebook or an author website or an author any page?
I sort of do, but I don't do anything on them.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just not into social media.
Okay.
I've got a Facebook thing, but I can't even figure out. It keeps wanting to connect to my regular one and post on there, and I'm like, no, I'm going to post on this one. And I've got an Instagram. Anything would be Cary.
Well, anything that you want me to list in the description below for the people to find,
okay.
Email that to me. And I will link the books. I will assume I can find this book.
Yep.
And I will link the books. I will link any kind of pages you send me down below.
Okay.
But it was a joy having you, and thank you very much for
really
coming.
Nice visiting with you. This was fun.
And for all of you out in, I was about to say YouTube world, but I'm still really hoping these are going to get on Spotify soon. I just haven't had time to deal with it in life. But all of you out in the great big internet world, if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. But as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.